Hi there, and welcome to the Multiply You podcast, where we showcase top experts in their space and reveal all the secrets you need to know to multiply you.
Hey, thanks everyone for joining. Austin Clark here. I am the host of the Multiply You podcast, where I talk with top leaders in business. I've got Jeremy Weiss here of Rise 25, who's done thousands of interviews with successful entrepreneurs and CEOs. And today we flipped the script and he will be interviewing me.
Austin, this is going to be jam-packed because this is, I don't know, everyone's favorite topic, but I think a lot of people's, which is top tools, software, resources in the pest control industry. In any industry, I always love when people are sharing what tools, software, services they use, and I'm writing down furiously. So this is going to be that type of episode. So get out a pad of paper. I actually have one in front of me, and I always learn from your secrets and your tips. So before we talk about it, this episode is brought to you by Moxie Pest Control. And I know, Austin, the number one focus for you and your team is buying other pest control businesses. So if you know someone who has a pest control business with 3 or more trucks on the road and it's a really respectable brand, he'd love to talk to you and their team would. And there's several people I've worked with. And you were telling me a story of Randy. He was in business for over 30 years. He wasn't interested in selling, never thought he could sell his company for what you paid for it. And he's living a great life now. So if you are interested or you know someone, you can text him directly at 480-254-9730 or email aclark@moxiepestcontrol.com. If you go to the main website of Moxie Pest Control, their national team will get it and Austin won't. So make sure you email him directly at aclark@moxiepestcontrol.com. Austin, top resources, tools, software. Let's start with software. What kind of software? Someone that has a pest control business, maybe they've been around a long time. Maybe they're just starting their pest control business. What's the suite of software that you love and recommend?
Technology is such, a huge piece, I think, of any business anymore today. And, when you consider it and just how quickly and easily it allows you to serve your customers, whether it's communicating more clearly with them or getting them invoices faster or information faster. It's just kind of a must-have kind of deal. And so as far as pest control companies go, there are dozens of different platforms and CRMs out there that work really, really well. We've used a handful of them. We started with a firm called PestPack. And for what we were doing at the time, it worked really well. It worked really, really great. It's a little bit archaic and not super user friendly. And I think that they've since we went away from that software probably 5 or 6 years ago, I know through the grapevine that they've made just hundreds and hundreds of iterations that have improved it. But that is a great software and very, very helpful. We currently use a platform called Pest Routes, and we have a really, really neat relationship with them. I think that Jared Green, or Brown rather, the original founder, I know that for a while he worked out of our operation in Dallas, Texas. We've always had a really special relationship with there. Jared's not involved, I think, only as a board member anymore with the company. But, it started, I don't know the very early on stories of Pest Routes, but I believe it started as essentially just like a texting platform where people could text in appointments from contacts that they had made. And then from there, it grew into, what it is today, just serving hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of pest control companies all throughout the country, if not the world. My director of operations, Travis, he's on the phone and exchanging emails pretty regularly with a lot of their executives, Gav is one of the executives over there who's been just so helpful in providing value to us. Rubens, I think that Rubens is their CTO, and they have an incredibly capable team. I think just a couple of years ago, the company sold, and investors have really been cranking it up, and so it's an amazing type of platform. But there's different types of Serve Suite, Serve Pro platforms that aren't necessarily specific. Gorilla Desk, I know, is one of them that aren't necessarily specific to the pest space. I mean, I even know a lot of home service companies that use pest routes that don't do pest control. They do landscaping, or they do pools, or they do whatever else. And so a lot of those softwares are similar. Another great one out there that we haven't been able to use quite yet, but then we've been looking to beta a few things with, is Service Titan. And we have a couple of common friends, Jeremy, you and I, in the home services space. Tommy Mello's one of them over at A1 Garage Doors that just loves the platform. I believe Ken Goodrich of Gettle is using that platform as well. And it kind of takes it from a fully stacked CRM to just a complete operating system that just helps to manage the customer journey from before their customers, so marketing, to even re-engagement campaigns after their customers. I was able to meet, Tom Howard does a lot of speaking for them. I think that he's on staff over there now, but Tom runs a very successful HVAC company in California. And I know that the testimonials that he gives of Service Titan is just amazing. It kind of takes, like I said, the fully stacked CRM to just a whole nother level. So those are some key pieces of, you've got to have a software to house all of your customer data, right? Depending on, if you're just getting started, or if you're a mid-sized firm or a large firm, there's different human capital management softwares out there for payroll and HR and onboarding and offboarding. I feel that we've almost used all of them. We've used ADP, we've used Paychecks currently, and it's really working for us. We use Zenefits and have for the last 6 or 7 years, and they've done a really, really great job for what we need them to do. Gosh, I feel bad, I'm kind of dominating the conversation, but there's the phone integration, and it just never ends.
How you're talk about the phone for a second.
Yeah, I feel like we struck out a lot earlier on with different platforms that we use, or used rather. I won't mention really any of them. We use a phone system that we love right now. It's called Nextiva. And I shouldn't say we struck out with all of them. The platform we used before that was RingCentral, and it was incredible. And you've got to understand our business in the last 24 months or so. It's grown very rapidly, and so it was just time to. We had outgrown the capabilities of the current platform, and we just needed more. And so, if you're a one-man shop, it's a free Google Voice number all the way, right? If you're running 50 contact center agents, you probably need something a little bit more robust than that. If you're running a 500 person operation, then it's probably something even more robust than that. But we've certainly had a lot of great luck with Nextiva, and the capabilities there are pretty neat, and how we're able to communicate with our customer, and the metrics too that help us drive decisions for hiring and customer service and those sorts of metrics.
Is that a tough transition going from like a RingCentral or whatever you had before to Nextiva? I feel like there must be a pain of disconnect. You probably held out as long as humanly possible.
There is so much pain, Jeremy, involved in a switch. And that's why, we try not to do it. And so it is, switching payroll companies, that's a terrible thing to do. Switching phone platform. You consider, right before this, we were talking about employees, and imagine training 100 employees, right? And the ramp up and the resources and the whatever to be able to use, hey, I know that for the last few years, you've requested time off like this. Well, now this is how you do it. I know for the last whatever years you have logged in and logged out, or clocked in or clocked. And so
People don't
there's
like
this.
change. You know,
Oh
people do not like,
gosh.
so even a small change, which this is, I'm not saying this isn't a small change, like people get up in arms.
Yep. Yep. And so you want to do your due diligence, and you've got to make sure that that change is the right thing. And so whether it's switching from payroll platforms, we're in the middle of making a switch from our bank that we've used since inception, 10 years or so ago. And so, yeah, you just got to make sure the upside is that there's a lot of upside. So yeah, very
Would,
painful.
I guess, knowing what you know now though, Austin, would you have gone with Nextiva off the bat, or was that too robust to start?
Yeah, no way. We wouldn't have gone with Nextiva right off of the bat. We didn't have the budget. We didn't have the need for it.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important to probably just consider your resources, consider where you are, and then kind of begin with the end in mind. And so, is the end goal a $20 million company, or is it a $1 million company, or $100 million company? And then don't just behave that way now, but maybe make decisions based off of that. And that can trickle all the way down to what bank you're using, what payroll platform you're using. But I think that it's
You want to
natural as
grow with
company.
you want to grow with
Exactly.
you.
Yeah, as companies progress and grow, I mean, they have different needs.
So, we'll talk about the other categories, but first on the software, there, from communication standpoint or marketing standpoint, what are any other softwares that you would tell people to look into?
Yeah, so one that's been key for us that we really like, and consider what's happening with consumers, Jeremy, right? And so a lot of millennials are in the workplace now. I'm a millennial technically by like a year. And
That's a
so
scary thought.
how I
No, I'm
know
just
it's
kidding.
very scary. And so, it doesn't really matter how we, the business, want to communicate with our customer. I think that it's our job and our duty to understand our customer and to communicate with them the way that they want to be communicated with. And so, what I mean by that is some of your customers probably prefer the phone. Some of them would never pick up the phone and prefer email only. Some of them don't even have an email and only text, right? And so, how do we communicate with our customers? How do our customers want us to communicate with them? Maybe it's purely social, right? Facebook, Instagram, whatever. And so we love Podium. It is a incredible platform that allows us to be able to text inside of our software. It's kind of an integration or a plugin, if you will. And so, you know, any given day in our operations center, we'll have 500 plus phone calls, but we'll exchange 1,200, on average 1,200 emails, 1,500 text messages. And so the phone is not the only way to communicate. It's still a key way to communicate. But so anyway, Podium allows us to be able to do just that. And there's other platforms that do the same thing, but Podium's been key. Trying to think of any other that have been just, real big game changers. I think those are the main ones. And again, they've all got competitors. And so those are the ones that are working for us now. If we do this again in a year or two, I know that we'll have moved on to different ones, and maybe we'll still have some of the same ones. And, there's new pieces of technology popping up to help improve our lives every day.
Yeah, Podium looks amazing.
Yeah. Podium's rad.
You were talking before we hit record about Pronto.
Yeah. So we internally, as far as internal communication goes, we have loved Slack forever, still do. We've, and I don't know if you saw them in the news, but I can't remember what company, but I think just purchased them for like $27.7 billion. And so that's not too bad of a payday, I think that was the valuation of your company that you got just last week, right, Jeremy?
Exactly right.
No, yours was higher than that. Yours wasn't that low. But
I think they sold to Salesforce, I think.
There it is. Yeah. Salesforce, who is that? Are they a new player in the game? I've never heard of them before.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh.
So we love Slack, but we recently, for some of the customizable things that we needed to do, we have replaced that with Pronto. Pronto is very similar to Slack, and it really helps with internal communication. You can do video calls within it, messaging, forum groups, different sorts of things like that. And so that, if we want a quick response, we are looking to use Pronto internally. If it can be a longer type of response, we obviously use email. And then, external pieces of software, we're texting our customers using Podium, and housing a lot of their data in pest routes. And so I think those are some of the key ones that have been super impactful.
I know it was game changing for us. I mean, we kind of try and have a rule where we're not allowed to communicate with email internally because it's just inefficient and it's just not good. And the productivity and efficiency just skyrocketed when we started using tool like, we like Slack as well, but Pronto would be an equivalent. So let's talk. So there's a bunch of software. That is a good range that we could talk about. Another kind of item, I guess, that you would say that is services is services, right? And professionals. So talk about who people should look into or recommend. It could be generally or specifics. I know you mentioned insurance, attorneys, and accountants are key for any business.
Yeah, and I'll speak more generally about, those professional type services. But yeah, if you're forming a business, or, those of you that have already formed businesses and you've been around for a while, how important it is to have an incredible attorney that can help you navigate the legalese and make sure that you're doing things correctly and setting things up correctly. Similarly, you want to have a strong accountant, or accounting firm that understands how you're set up and how cash works and taxes work and those kinds of things. It takes me back to college and my accounting 241 class, which is the extent of all of the accounting knowledge that I have. Dr. David Forsyth was the gentleman's name. And he said, look, a lot of you are going to go out there into the world. You're going to be parts of businesses or own businesses, and you're going to work really hard for your money. And boy, he was right. And he said, you want to have a good accountant to have that person help you keep more of the money that you have worked so hard to earn. And so, we've all got to, contribute and give Uncle Sam his fair share, but only his fair share. And so a good accountant will be able to help you to do just that, to keep more of your hard-earned money that you can then take around and reinvest it and make more of it. And an attorney will help you to navigate tricky waters and to also keep a bunch more of your money by not doing stupid things or illegal things or whatever else. And so, yeah, great tax person, great accountant, great suite of professionals and legal person.
What about the insurance side of things?
Yeah. And that's a great point too. We've had a couple of different insurance agencies over the year. And I was just on the phone the other day, matter of fact, with a friend of mine, Dean Nelson at the Mahoney Group. And in fact, they do quite a bit. I believe they write quite a bit of pest business at that firm, not just locally here in Arizona, but all over the place. And you have to have a great insurance person. Dean writes business for a handful of the Moxie companies, and it's difficult enough to run and operate your business. Some of these things that we've talked about, Jeremy, they need to be the last thing on your mind, but they can't be the least important thing, because if you don't have the right kind of coverage, right, or you thought that it meant something different, or you thought your deductibles were something different, it takes one not even serious claim, but to really put yourself and your business at jeopardy and in a bind. And so, Dean's totally great over at the Mahoney Group, and there's thousands of firms out there, and even more agents that could help people, navigate those waters.
And yeah, that's super important. You know, you don't need it till you need it type of thing. But you need to have it. Talk about, you know, some of the groups, you know, there's associations, there's conferences. What are some of the groups that you like or recommend?
Yeah. So one of the things I wish I would have done a little bit better earlier on in my journey in the pest space is become a little bit more friendly with our regulatory agency, which in Arizona it's the Pest Management Division. The Pest Management Division is inside of the Department of Agriculture, and their primary job is to really keep people safe and to educate. And so what I've learned is that they are a tremendous resource in doing just that, keeping people safe. They're not looking to fine you for doing this thing wrong or that thing wrong or reporting that form wrong on accident or whatever else. And I've truly come to find that, um, there's a lot of really key people down there, but Robert Tolton and Vince Craig, we've recently, they'll do routine audits, which I think a lot of people don't like. I actually really, really like it because it's an opportunity for us to normally shine. And if not, and they find something that either the I's not dotted or T's not crossed, it allows us an opportunity to be able to correct that before, but before something wrong happens. And so, I would say make friends and be friendly with your regulatory agencies, whatever space that you're in. I believe they really truly are there to be able to help and to keep people safe. And we've even had experiences. We usually once a year, every other year, we invite them down to do a vehicle check to make sure that our vehicles are set up the way that they've asked us to set them up. And then they'll either tell us yes it is or no it's not, and leave us a sheet. And a lot of the times it is, sometimes it's not. If it's not, then we'll correct it, and then we'll make sure that our entire fleet is that way. And so we can feel good about having that done every couple of years. The other thing that they'll do too, or we'll invite them to come and do cage inspections where we store our either equipment or chemical. There's different rules around how that can go. And so they'll let us know if we're doing it correctly or incorrectly or whatever else. And so in my experience, they are certainly looking to contribute and provide value, and not, write you $100 ticket for this or a $500 ticket for that. They're awesome.
And then associations, conferences, any you
Yep.
recommend?
So the big, the big national convention is the National Pest Association, the NPMA. And I mean, it's a really great place to actually learn a lot about what we're talking about today. There's just different vendors as it pertains to insurance and chemical manufacturers or distributors, equipment, software. And, they've got great keynote speakers and speakers in general that are experts in biology and pest and different pest sciences. They've got just all types of people that, I mean, you could go there and listen and glean different things, and just, it's a great, with the current, climate, there's not a lot of those things happening, but they're still happening virtually. And so it's great to be able to listen in and learn from people that have been there, done that, and maybe made some of those same sorts of mistakes. The local one here in Arizona is the AZPPO, Arizona Pest Professional, Management Association. And we've just recently, in the last year or two, got more involved in that. And so we're learning a lot about that. We're making friends. And, one of the things that I was kind of concerned about is to see that, in Arizona, at least enrollment is relatively low, in my opinion. I don't know what is the average or what's normal, but I'd like to see that enrollment bump up there a little bit. And our organization, we were part of the problem for the first couple of years, but now we're enrolled. And, what they look to do there is, to keep different products and chemicals ready to be able to use. They push through a lot of legislation, or fight a lot of different legislation, so that we can continue to do what we do as pest professionals, and protecting the food supply, and limiting disease and those sorts of things. And so we've appreciated and enjoyed our association and relationships that we've had there. It's a great organization.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think.
people don't realize, like, supporting those associations, they're really doing a lot of lobbying and helping behind the scenes that it's more than meets the eye for all these type of professions.
I had no I
So
had no idea, Jeremy. I almost feel guilty that it took us so long to be able to participate in that way. For exactly like you said, they lobby like crazy, right? I mean, they are fighting for, whatever industry you're in, they're really fighting for your industry because others are fighting to regulate more and whatever else. And so, we would hope that some of our nickels and dimes or whatever, make it all the way to be able to help make a difference. And as we get more involved and provide more resources like people in time, that we would hope that that would make a difference.
yeah, Austin, when I think of pest control, obviously I think of just I get freaked out by things like scorpions. I just kill those suckers, right? So it makes me think of chemicals, right? So what's some of the maybe equipment or chemicals out there that people should look at?
Yeah, so let me first put that to bed for you. So most of the products that any pest company would use at your place or your business or whatever, the toxicity level is so low. I mean, the household chemicals that you have under your sink have a higher toxicity level than almost any product that we would use or another firm would use on your property. You could drink the stuff, don't do it, probably tastes nasty, and you'd almost, you'd be fine. So, I think a lot of that stigma comes from years ago where a lot, malathion and chlorodyne and diazinon and some of these chemicals that would just kill everything. Those don't exist anymore. So it's a lot less, it's a lot greener, it's a lot friendlier, a lot less impact. But where you're going with that, as far as, great partners to have, you have to have an incredible chemical company to support you as far as being a pest control company. And the same if you're in the HVAC, business or pools or landscape or wherever. And so, earlier on, we received so much support. I'm really and still have a great relationship with Jack McClure today of Chemtech Supply. I was brand new to the industry, didn't know anything. Didn't know anything, Jeremy, and we were able to link up with him. He even helped get us in contact with some of the first couple of people that helped to provide the licensing for our company because he had to have so much experience and whatnot. And for years, Jack was a great resource in helping us to be able to diagnose or assess different pest issues we were having at customers' homes, different products to use during different seasons and that sort of thing. More recently, I've had an incredible relationship with Robert Snyder at Target Specialty and have been able to meet some really neat people and neat contacts there. And, there's different types of products for different types of pests and not, most of the companies sell all of them, but some of them are a little bit more specialized. Les Johnson at Cortiva, it has been another incredible resource, and they help with some of the termite work that we do. So just a lot of, I kind of feel badly. We'll have her on someday, but her name is Jackie Bell. And I remember she was at a competing chemical company that we weren't using at the time. And she walked into the office and kind of cold called. And I've called and apologized to Jackie. So if she ever listens to this, yeah, she she said what everyone says. She says, "Hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we're about. I want to be able to help you grow your business." I must have been in a salty kind of mood that day, but I just said, "Well, great. Tell me about that. How is it you're going to help me grow my business?" And that was dumb to say and not very kind. I'm thinking, hey, if you want to help me grow my business, go knock on some doors, go pick up the phone and start cold calling customers and that sort of thing. But I've gotten a little bit wiser, not much, but a little bit wiser since then. And you really do need key people like that can help you. As a business owner, you're just unable to do it all, right? And so you need, whether it's employees, right? Whether it's these strategic relationships or, you're exchanging money, for time, or expertise so that they can provide value to you. And so Jackie's an absolute sweetheart. She has provided so much value. I've apologized to her, like I said. And, a key chemical person can help you to save money. They can help you to understand rebates better. They can let you know when a new product has come out that is hot on the market or that works really, really well for a certain situation. They can help provide continuing education units, right? Not just to you, but to your employees so that they're better educated and better trained. They can let you know about legislation that's coming down the pipeline or whatever else. They can let you know, for example, earlier on this year with the pandemic, a lot of the stuff coming from overseas was on back order. And they said, hey, you order a lot of this, get it now because we've got a 6 month or week or whatever lag time. And so those relationships are important. How much is my business growing if I don't have the product I need to go and service my customers, right? And I would never know that if I didn't have relationships like that.
Austin, first of all, thank you. Thanks for sharing these. I think for any business owner, any service-based business, some of these are really valuable, not just for the pest control, but any industry, especially pest control. So thanks for having me. Everyone should check out or email aclark@moxiepestcontrol.com. If you have any questions, check out more episodes of the podcast. And Austin, thank you so much.
Hey, you got it. Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you for listening to the Multiply You podcast. You'll see us again soon when you subscribe for future episodes.